that whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, my sweet beloveds, and welcome to a very important subject today with me, a topic that is so adored and at the same time it is so widely searched throughout the internet. It probably is one of the most widely spread topics in alignment with Ascension as well, so right next to the Ascension. And I really got this simplistic and yet very profound explanation from the point of creation principles, which is something that's my main thing here, which I came here to do on this planet, is to work with these creation principles and bring them back to the planet, because a lot of them were forgotten and lost. So as a creation pillar, this is my work of most honor, dedication in terms of how I serve. So, very often I still tend to read somewhere here and there articles that say things like, encouraging people how to find love in terms of soulmates, twin flames, twin soul. And many times these terms are used, but they're not used properly. So there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding, and for people who share or teach about this subject, at the same time, there's too much generalizing about this topic. So this is something I want to present today to all of you from the uniqueness of the soul experience and soul agreement, and as well as from the higher understanding in terms of how our soul experiences in creation and the choices that we make that are, again, very different and very individual. We're all one being, but you'll see when I'm going to talk about this thing, it's how we divide, it's how our soul actually travels. That is the main difference here. So these terms that are not used properly, sometimes things are being said, such as, we all have many twin flames, such and such, and these are just basically not true. These things are not true. And I'm going to explain through a very simple chart, very simple. Again, I'm using my board, very simple visualization, so that all of you can go even deeper in integrating this, because I always share with all of you that there is no such thing as knowledge that comes from information and outside of you. You can get triggered or you can get new activations coming this way. But true truth, it's something that only your soul can show you, can give you. So as I'm going to be talking about these things, again, try to feel with your heart where you are and what's your unique beloved experience, because, we are all the beloved. The whole universe is the beloved. Everything is the beloved. And when I look at the nature of how most people in the circles and the spiritual communities talk about the nature of this topic, I'm very surprised just how much there can be generalization about it, because in truth we cannot do that, from the point of our experience self, because there's a lot of this sharing of how unions are supposed to be, and whether if it's rare. Some people say it's rare, some people say it's not rare. The only thing what Spirit tells me that is really rare as of yet, where we are in our evolution, is the true unification. Because it's not just about becoming aware that you're either twin flame, twin soul, whatever you're thinking of this nature in your being. It's about that full unification on all levels, which includes our human level, our human embodiment. So the full unification of the two souls becoming the third aspect, creating this triangulation energy, being ready to create anything. And this is how stars are created. This is how fusion works. And this is how chemistry is being propelled. So in the true nature of our creation core self, this is what it truly means, and that's what is rare on this planet still as of yet. So there's many books that talk about this as well. I want to present you the book Soul Integration from Sal Kelly. I haven't read the whole book, so I don't know how it is from the whole perspective, but I read the section about relationships, and these relationships are very well described here in this book, and that's why I recommend it. I'm not sure about the whole book, because, with everything, just take it lightly. Take it as what resonates and what doesn't, because a lot of people sometimes, even when they listen to my videos, they tell me sometimes things are too much for them, that there's too much information. When that is so, leave it. Because when we still perceive it as information, it's not going to serve us. It's almost like getting certain knowledge, and it activates, it goes at our subconscious level, and it will reactivate itself again when we're ready. So to be too mind-numbingly working ourselves for that for us to either get something or try to understand something, because I often spoke with people who are all about chasing knowledge, and that really doesn't serve us. So, knowledge can be a stepping stone, but it's not where our journey of soul remembrance and divine love, where it ends. So I want to talk about the specific uniqueness of this experience. I have many twin soul videos, and you've seen me most of the times use the word twin soul, not twin flame. Why? I'm going to share a bit later, because it deals with my personal journey as well. And you will see when I'm going to explain the difference and what these terms really mean from the principle of creation. Many times I use certain words, and you might get a certain other person who's going to use the same words, but it won't necessarily mean from the creation point of view, from the standpoint of creation. It's almost like, if you have been reading any words of wisdom from the books of wizards, or anything magical like that, you will see that wizards are those who know the names of everything in creation. The same goes for if you've been reading Tolkien or Ursula's books from the the what's it called? I don't know the English titles of the book, but these are the books we're reading now, and it's basically, I think it's Earth Sea trilogy, but there's more books than just 3. And basically, you will see that the wizards know the names. So these are creation names. So as well as when I'm being given a name by spirit, this is a name that is sacred. So it's not just a word that we might use, or a word that becomes popular and we say, oh, now everything is coming from that point. We can. But on a creation level, things are as they are. It's almost like you can't call a rose a stone, and you can't call a stone a rose, because that's not what they are in essence. So that is something that I want to present to you again here today. And this is what the basics of creation principles is all about. So as we have our own unique soul journey, we're all coming from the different filtering of the source experience. So we are all different facets of creation, having our unique creation journey and experience. And that is why a lot of the things that are being in terminology or spiritual language, or in this new age movement being presented to us, they're not always going to be what it is in truth. So those who know the divine words of creation understand this language on a much greater level than things that are being presented to us because they're simply popular, or someone says, oh, I love this person, we must be twin flames because we have certain things so much in common. A lot of the awakening relationships are being mistaken as well for these relations that are basically creation based, because they're so familiar in terms of they're getting us to the awakening of our soul, and that's why it feels intense and profound. And intensity in itself is not the main reason for things to be as they are in creation. So you have to be very aware. You have to know your soul and its signature to really know what I'm going to be talking about today from the perspective of creation principles. And that is why I wrote today the title being Twin Soul versus Twin Flame from the perspective of creation principles. And this is always the perspective I'm coming from as the pillar of creation. So the essence of the beloved is unique experience. That is what Spirit always tells me. And I'm going to explain this more in detail and our multidimensional ascension in my really, I promise, coming soon course on the nature of multidimensional ascension. We're going to gather a lot of cosmic information. Again, a lot of that light of understanding of the wisdom from the creation principles, and share with all of you those who want to go deeper. But I'm going to go in and some of the details as well here in this video, because as you know, I like to present as much as I can with everyone so that people can wake up to that which is sacred, and not just, carry around words almost like they have. Sometimes, it's almost like people get too enthusiastic about things, and, they don't yet have the maturity to really walk and live with that, to know what this means in all life, to what it really means, again, like I said, on the principle of creation basis. So we kind of toss and turn words around and we use them, and a lot of times we don't approach this with sacredness. It just becomes a random thing. So this is the reason for this video, although I have a lot of Twin Soul videos already speaking about always guiding you the same way, that you need to go within and you need to realize your own journey, because you're never going to get all the answers on the outside. And I do have beloved paintings, and I've showed them to you. I think I've showed them to you once before. There's 27, which is my soul number, and I'm not going to go into detail why in this video, but these are, again, my own cosmic beloved remembrance and the service of my own twin soul and creation. And I have those paintings if you want to see them, and you kind of, you have this desire, that you have this sparking off of your own divine remembrance. And you can go to my art blog, and there's a section there that it can show you different types of my art, and you will find these under the beloved paintings, the beloved painting collection. So these paintings were like an essence of my own divine memory, of my own beloved experience. And that is the most sacred thing to me. And they're going to eventually become an oracle one day. But, you know, I also made a video, The Journey of the Beloved, I think it was back in the summer last year. So where I show these paintings to all of you one by one at the end of the video. And they have that my own remembrance. It's not something I learned from the outside. It came through, you know, art is like the language of the soul, and the singing and all of that is like a light language. So this came through in my own way, and this has the knowing and the remembrance of my own twin soul. And I'm going to share this with you. Why is it so important to, as well as knowing the understanding from the creation principles, also to have a knowing of where we're coming from in this variation of creation, just for us as unique soul experience, because otherwise we will never really understand the whole if we don't even know our own part. How do we fit? What were the soul agreements we have chosen to participate with? Why are they this way? Because a lot of people, when they have certain relationships or, you know, circumstances in their life, they're still asking themselves, why is this way? Why? Or feeling regret or sadness, or not understanding, they're not accepting them, when in fact just simply embracing that if something is there in your life, you have already chosen it on a soul level. And when you will see and witness the growth behind it, everything will become clearer, and things will start evolving in a new way. So that is why knowing our soul, knowing our unique chosen soul journey is so important for us. We're one being, as you can see here, as I've been made a drawing of the one. We're one being, but that being split into many different forms, facets of creation. So here I wrote about the division, so fragmentation and polarization, and what this means. So everything in its core has its beloved twin essence. So the beloved is almost like the language, the basic language of the multiverse, of all that is. It's divine love, and we each are existing, and I've shared this in every single one of my twin soul videos, as unique bubble of that creation experience just for us, unique just for our own experience as a sovereign soul. So that twin essence is like a yin yang, which is also shown in the wisdom of the Tao, the teachings of the Tao. Everything has its polarized opposite. So when this one being, and you see I've been drawing this polarization, and already, you know, the yin yang essence, even though it is one, and that's the whole reason why creation can exist. And I teach this in my cosmic convergence workshops. There's a lot of this knowledge of the creation principles shared there for those of you who are interested. And so even though there's always like this feeling of the twin nature, and as this was beginning to split and fragment, the more of these splits were beginning to, were starting to be created, as you can see that. So every time, as this is so, we have a divine Trinity. So Trinity, you know, we know it as the principle of the triangle, is the principle of unity. So the Trinity is unity because it implies how everything is being devised in creation. So from the one you have the two, but together they make the third. They make this triangulation energy, as you can see. So each fragment will be a little tinier, as you can see. That's how I drew them as well. And it will not polarize because it already is polarized in order for it to have this twin essence. But it does have, it can fragment further and further on. And I think, again, this is explained in the Soul Integration book from Salwa Kelly. So I don't want to go too much into these fragments because you have a lot of material that describes that. I want to focus on the uniqueness of the twin soul experience today. So what is the main difference I want to share here today about the twin soul and twin flame? I've been writing this here down at the end, twin soul versus twin flame, because it really became very evident why I never wanted to use the word twin flame for myself. I never judged it, the word, although I also knew it was very misused in the New Age circles, but it wasn't about that as well. So the beloved experience is unique because as sovereign beings, we come from different levels of that fragmentation. So these different parts of where we have capitalized in a way. We have realized our own potential. So as a being, we all have the same seed, but that seed was expressed and expanded in a unique way. So our consciousness will vary. And where the consciousness is and from which point and angle of creation we're coming from, we also can witness here in our human incarnations. We see that there's differences in our awareness and what kind of different energy we have. So it all relates to that. So what we are in core creation language and essence, we also mirror here in our physicality, because as above, so below principle, and as below, so above. So the beloved twin nature is, everyone has that within as a yin yang, no matter what kind of being. It's not just humans. There is a twin nature. The beloved is the language of creation. But let's talk now about the difference between twin flame and twin soul. So a twin flame, and I've been drawing this here, as you can see, this sovereign soul, in its own polarity, it started to split. You see? And it came out as in the human experience, it came out as two beings. So the twin flame is a soul split into two beings, so different aspects of the experience. Their nature in terms of their purpose is, a lot of beings who have chosen to come in physicality as twin flames, and that is the reason why we call it twin flames, because literally they're two flames. They have one same core, but they burst out in creation as two flames, if you know what I'm saying. So these two flames will always have that magnetism between them, and that's why there's this feeling when there is a being that says, oh, I'm a twin flame. They have this longing to reunite, to merge with the other half of them. So we talk about the other half of the whole. And this is the soul split into two beings, and you can see two humans. That split creates the experience of wanting to come together and unify, and that is why the purpose of most who call themselves twin flames, that they have a twin flame, they've met their, almost like the other half of them. I know sometimes it's on the other half of the planet, or sometimes it's a different race. There's a lot of difference, and at the same time, the core is the same. It is because these beings are coming to this planet from the perspective, again, of creation principles. Their journey and their path, what it has been chosen for them, and how do they serve all of creation, is they show the process of that unification, and all the layers, all the levels, all that we have known as humans as limited, and all that we've seen as barriers, everything that hasn't been unified. Their purpose in a way is to bridge the gaps between races, genders, what you can call is different types of cultures, different livings, all of that. So for a lot of these beings, they will have the experience of meeting someone, maybe even on the other half of the planet, and they will have maybe challenges how they will come together. As I've said, what is rare is not the experience itself, but full unification, which does include your physical bodies merging completely on all levels as well in the white column of light and ascension. So they will have, for example, different aspects of experience. And that's where they will feel like this longing to meet with the other half. For a lot of these beings, even when they're born, they feel like, oh, I have someone that's here as my twin. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. So they're called twin flames, and they split into two, and they're having this desire to merge there as one essence. So their journey will be almost like showing humanity, how can we break through all the patterning of different families, different societies, the matrix systems, all these corporate beliefs, control beliefs, all that we know about races, different cultures, everything like that. And how even beyond all duality, there can be unity. That's the main purpose of why these souls have chosen to split and then find each other again and reactivate that. For a lot of these beings, that will feel like they're all of their lives, they're kind of like searching for someone. And that a lot of them even say, I can't start my mission without the other half. So a lot of times what happens with these beings is that they meet this other half, and they will trigger an immense awakening within them. It's not always the same for what I've shared in the beginning, that some relationships are just awakening relationships. There's someone coming in your life, maybe a soulmate, whatever you call it, doesn't matter, but it won't necessarily be your exact polarized opposite. And for a lot of people who explain this as their journey, they will have been feeling the same things, they will have same symptoms in the body, they will have even similarities in their body. How it doesn't mean now they will look physically exactly the same, but they will manifest certain specific sameness that it will be reflected in their physicality as well. So this is their experience, and this is how they serve. Now I want to move into the twin soul. So I wrote here that the twin nature and the beloved nature is the essence of all creation. So again, there's no difference, there's no separation between anything. Again, what I want to emphasize here, there's no duality here, what I'm sharing. It's just the core principle of how it is, how things run in the divine plan of perfection of all. And when you understand creation, when you know how we as a whole function like this great ant farm, everything having its specific core and purpose and everything flowing in perfection, then we can understand this beyond our perception of what's better, what's worse, who's who. That's labeling. That doesn't serve us in our ascension. We have to move deeper and see the wisdom behind our different choices and the purpose within the mission that we have chosen. So recently I've seen a video from a young woman, a young girl, and she said something about, she said, well, the difference between twin flames and star seeds is that, I wouldn't use that word, but I'm just going to share with you an example of what triggered this video to be made in the first place. And she said something like, twin flames have split. So basically they're of the same essence, but they split. So they're in a way they're half, but they're whole. And she said that the difference is that star seeds are already whole, and that's why they feel different and their mission will be different, but they all came with the mission, and that's true. So the mission is to serve. Again, service will vary, but the mission again is to serve humanity in its own facet of what it's needed, and everything in all these different orientations are needed, because from the truth of one being, it's all one. Everything serves the wide light of unity in truth. Okay, so when we have that higher perspective, we notice and we feel it fully. Now, what's the difference of the twin soul? Here, let's have an example. So here, the twin soul is a less fragmented aspect. I wouldn't call it fragmented, but less devised aspect. So this soul is an illuminary soul. This soul has already mastered itself. It knows its wholeness. So when I made my paintings, all the paintings mostly show our own unique service in creation, and that's why I never felt that my journey was to long for someone, in a way to find someone so we could have that mirroring, because a lot of people who describe themselves as twin flames, they share how their journey was coming together, coming apart, coming together, coming apart, through the different synthesis they needed to do together as a work of unification, because that's the journey when they chosen to split in the first place. But twin soul, even like I said, your twin flames, again, they also come from that twin soul. Don't get that wrong. It's just that the twin soul is the soul that in souls that incarnates in fullness and the full experience. So the whole essence incarnates. It doesn't split into two. In the main essence, like I said, twin flame is just the name of the experience, but the essence for all of us. And you can find all about this in my course, Mastery Course. It's the 7th course, and it's called Mastering Polarity and Twin Soul. And I talk about this there in its whole essence. So if you're interested, get that course. It's the main teaching of what everything is based on the creation principle. So when you know this, everything has a very simple meaning and knowing and origin of our true nature as divine love. So the twin soul, the whole soul, you see, the whole soul goes into incarnation as already fully merged and unified. And I will give you an example. When I had a starseed reading once, a starseed reading confirmation, the woman told me that even in my chart, in my birth chart, I have a fullness of half male and female essences. And she told me, you already came as a complete whole incarnation. Your male and female, your masculine, feminine essences were completely merged, balanced, and unified. And so you in your life, you don't need a partner. She said, it's nice to have one, but you don't need them. And when I was going through this journey of getting more acquainted with twin flames and what people share about this online, I never could fully get it. I got parts of it, you know. I never said, "Oh, that's not real." I just felt this is not where it ends, and this is not the only journey one can choose. And I didn't feel it therefore for myself, because I myself am not a twin flame. My soul did not split. So I know this for myself very, I don't know, it's like 100% knowing. It's something you know, you just know. And like for a lot of people who are twin flames, they feel they have split. So they have this feeling of longing to merge and to kind of unify. So they have lots of work to do. And I've shared this, I'm going to talk about this towards the end. What's the mission? Again, more in depth and detail. But master souls, so luminaries, these souls are already whole. So when you've witnessed and you had other ascensions, a lot of it is from our multidimensional experience. You and the beloved, you as the beloved. Again, there is no separation. When you unify completely, your approach to creation will be service. So like I said before, the focus for a lot of beings who are twin flames, who know this journey is theirs, will be this unification. And for the twin soul, someone who knows that they're already whole, they come here as fully unified, so their journey will be to serve. To serve those, for a lot of cases, also to serve twin flames who are unifying, who have chosen this journey. Sometimes it's challenging to split and then, remember their unification and go through all these obstacles and challenges of the 3D world, which of course we're now transcending. But because of that, we are transcending, because of that transcending that the split creates. And it's longing again to unify. So master souls are already whole, and the whole essence incarnates as a whole. That's how they're embodied. So it does not split into two as male and female physical aspects of polarity. The whole is already both masculine and feminine as one. And I remember once I was asking Spirit, I said, "Where is my beloved? Is he here? Is he there?" And it was every time the answer was like, "No, no." And I didn't get it. I said, "But where? Where is he?" They said, "Within you." And I didn't get it. I said, "Of course, the beloved is always within us." But for a lot of souls who have had that split experience, it will feel like, of course, it's within me, but I also feel it's something there. It's I want that magnet. I want that unification. I want to be, meeting. And a lot of these beings already met. For a lot of couples, they even meet now as very young, because the whole process in the earth is speeding up. So here, the masculine feminine essence and the twin soul, they're already one. I said again, in our creation self, we're all twin soul. don't get me wrong, please. So no separation or nothing here, because a lot of people say when they do their videos, they say just some people are twin flames. That's not true. The journey that they've chosen is the journey of a twin flame, for example. Like, we all are a twin soul, but the journey we've taken is not necessarily going to take us down that road. You know what I mean? So it's, again, is when you also are a twin soul in incarnation and embodiment, that's a different thing, if you know what I mean. So a luminary comes as a whole essence. So that was my experience. So here, the beloved experience, in most cases, and for me as well, is perceived as essence, and it's very pure. And you know that this is always with you. It does not leave you. You are it. You bring this wholeness. And that's why the angle of creation, in terms of how we help, assist, and serve, is through already being unified and assisting those through moving into and through this unification, as well as seeding. That's to be the creation pillar. And this is the rarest experience, because like I said, the rarest thing is to be in full unification. Still is very rare as in point in time and space where we are now. But a lot of these templates are bringing and ushering this new template, and more we're going to have more unified beings existing together as couples. So here we have the essence of another that is whole, can once again incarnate and embody. So divine male and female can be perceived also in incarnation, but through different means. Again, the whole other essence will incarnate as well. So that's why my experience was always that, a lot of people meet someone, they know they're their other half in a way, but they still have lots of work to do. So for me, it always felt more like, no, I need my equal, because I already am like in this way and unified, and already am doing this purpose. I'm not waiting for someone to come. And I couldn't always get it. I couldn't always connect the dots, because I couldn't relate to the twin flame journey and experience. And that was for a reason. So Spirit showed me in my own divine timing why this is my journey for me. So when this comes, the essence can come and can, the essence from the spirit, it can also become two beings, two physical beings. But the journey of how the soul is coming and how the soul energy is transferred will be different. The essence will once again maybe incarnate. There's many ways. There can be soul exchanges, we can have walkings, all of these experience, but it will come not through a split, if you know what I'm saying. So for the twin flames, so here, let me see what I've been writing down. Lots of that masculine and feminine integration they have to do. And the path is different, although all paths are one. So these two are not the same, although everything leads to one. We're all of one. It can be rare, but it's in most cases, a lot of people feel there are twin flames. And not all will be, but you know what I mean? Those who really know they are. It's not like wishful thinking and the first person you meet, oh, is that my twin flame? It's just a knowing of when someone is that split that you have together chosen to co-create and come into this incarnation, your divine split twin flame partner. So it does happen more and more as the polarity begins to unify this now. But the twin soul is still very rare. Creation pillars, like I've shared with you before, they're the few on the planet because their purpose will be different. It's almost like you have a pyramid, and a pyramid is like from this, and I explained this in my Divine Partnership and Group Soul Mastery course. I go more in depth there. And why here in the top you have just few, but then it expands the further out you go in the out breath of creation. So why the twin soul? Lots of times these are souls of masters and their soul is already eternal. That's why when I speak about the nature of the beloved energy transfer, a soul that is already eternal, it exists beyond the confines of space and time, can transfer and relocate and project its energy anywhere. That's still very hard for us as humans to imagine and perceive, but it does happen. And when the soul is a luminary, it's perceived as androgynous because of its wholeness in one being. And that's why a lot of times, you have divine feminine and masculine already within you. Now a lot of people talk about the movement of the divine feminine. Well, I'm not for that. People say I'm devoted to the movement of the divine feminine. It's not just the divine feminine. We're also, here as to embody the divine masculine, and that's the androgynous nature of a being. So when you're a twin soul, you will be for a lot of people, and through a lot of people, you will be perceived as androgynous because you are so well neutralized and balanced in your energy. In my journey, even though I have this in my natal chart, when I was going through my maturation, I also needed to embody what was there. I needed to embody this essence. So it wasn't like I was born this way, I had no work to do. Not at all. I'm not saying that. I had to do so much work and of remembrance, of activating, of planting those seeds, of remembering, again, remembering more, and then integrating so I can embody. And this is a journey. Everything that we choose when we incarnate is a journey, but we have to know our own unique journey, not generalizing it, because so many people that share this information, they generalize it. This is it. This is twin flame. These are the main categories. This is how the relationship evolves and expands. And it's like maybe your union and your unification process will go completely differently. It's just how it is. Don't go for any rules, because when rules are rules, it's linear and it's imposed. Creation principles are not laws and rules, just simply facts of how the whole universal nature exists, but it's not a rule. So to be androgynous, let me go back to that, is to be angelic in your form. And these are human angels, and this luminary is perceived as the angelic due to that neutralized, polarized self. And people are drawn to that more and more. They will be drawn to that essence, but that essence also has intensity. Because when you embody these both, your energy will be very much, for a lot of people who haven't fully unified, that will be too much. And I've experienced this in my journey. My energy was intense for most people. It was too intense, as well as they were quickly fascinated about it, or, they wanted almost like to have this ideal for themselves too. They couldn't cope with it. It was too much for them. And it triggered all of the, that limitation within them that was still to be overcome and transcended. So sometimes this, again, it's not an easy path. For none of us, what we have chosen here to how we serve is easy. We each deal with our own challenges. So please don't judge or think you know something for someone else, what they're going through. Because I've experienced people who have been asking me about my own beloved journey, and it was like, how is it for you? Why was it like this for you? And I'm like, please don't ask me, because it's my own and it's sacred. And it's the only way I know it is through my own spirit. And sometimes people want confirmation and answers about their own union from you, because almost perceive you as you're this person who can offer these certificates or validation, and this is still not how our ascension is supposed to go. We need to find that trust that our journey is our own, because no one can tell you. Even someone who's a complete luminary, they are for themselves. They have mastered their soul and their sovereignty and the balanced energies within them, but that doesn't mean now they will know for others everything. So we need to stay humble. We need to be in the sacredness of our own experience and journey, the uniqueness of the beloved experience, so that we can be unified and respect each other and our angles of how we serve our life in creation. So twin soul is already unified fully, and most of their dedication will be to devotional partnership, to devoting to spirit, to devoting their lives to self-service within that unification. Twin flame is the path of unification and seeking wholeness and coming together, merging and unifying, and at the same time purging all of these. You know, a lot of people are empaths, high sensitives. They have to go through a lot of family clearing, lineage clearing, ancestral lineage, and so forth. And again, this is not an easy journey. So both paths are one. We have to see them as one and unifying from the unifying perspective. So the reason why I share this in such a way is that we all could have a clearer vision of just how much diversity there is in creation, and that why do we still have that need to compare journeys, because so often experience this and people ask me, how is it for you? Does it matter? You know, when you know your sacredness, you don't have any more the need to tell and explain to everybody, oh, this is how it is for me, because you know it. And when you know it, you live your beloved, and the whole world rejoices because you know it and you live your truth. When you, for example, live from the ego, you need constant questioning of the experience, why, and comparing, and that's the ego drive. Learn to recognize it and move on, transcend it. It's easy now. The energies are helping us to transcend these veils, to help us be so rooted in what we know is truth for ourselves. So there can be so much talk about this, you know, how soul energy is transferred. And again, it deals with our nature of how much we have mastered on a soul level. So how much we have really remembered our core truth. And even then, the journey will be different. The journey will be unique. So when we can respect each other in that way and find a place to truly love ourselves beyond what we think is right, but what is true for us instead of what is right, and generalizing, no such thing. The beloved, again, the only thing you need to know is that the beloved is the language of creation. Everything exists as twin nature. Everything is about pairs. We just watched this movie yesterday. It was very black kind of humor. It wasn't a very my kind of type of movie, but it was interesting because the title was The Lobster, and it showed almost like this futuristic society when you had to exist in pairs. And if you were not in pairs, they sent you to this hotel and you only had like 45 days left to find a partner, but they had to be like a real partner. You had to have sameness with them. It can be like a hoax, yeah, just picking someone and that's it. So you had to have sameness, and if you didn't, they would turn you into animal of your choice. So, you know, at the other pole, there were people who lived as singles, and they escaped and they lived as singles, and they had again rules, and again they were imposed. And what they showed was that the singles now couldn't be in pairs, and the whole paradox was that the man who escaped found his love but there when they're supposed to be single. So there was like this whole paradox, and it was really interesting perspective, because I think it showed me just how much sometimes we put these labels on partnership, and sometimes, you know, that we have this stigma on single people and why they're single. A lot of people are not single because there's something wrong with them, because they know their purpose so well that they know what they're waiting for, they know what they're creating, you know. And we still have this stigma about relationships and putting labels on, oh, you're single, must be something wrong with you now. We have to look at everything from the higher plan and see that each souls know best their own plan, and that's it. We don't even need to know for them, you know. But when there's this eagerness to know for others, it means we're not dealing enough with ourselves. That's fact. It's just how it is. When you're so full of life and creating for yourself, you won't even have the decency to think about, oh, what are others, you know. You know, from the greater perspective, you will, because spirit will show you these beautiful truths, but that's it. You know, you won't have that need to interfere with others and tell them what's right for them and what isn't right for them. So to carry the embodiment of your own truth. So that was an interesting movie. It had a lot of concepts. There's a lot of archetypal messages in the movie. But this is the end of the video for today. There's so much I could share, but I did my best for this short time we have together today. And because it's a Valentine's weekend, I wish you all such a beautiful weekend of love. And I don't mean it like Valentine's as, this merchandise and shopping and everything on the outside. I mean it like spending time either with yourself, those you love, taking time, rewarding yourself with downtime just for yourself, feeling love that is full, universal, that always surrounds you, and just being in the presence. And I think it's a beautiful month. February is always perceived as month of love. And so I do wish you, although I'm not, an archetypal, I'm more an archetypal being. I'm not like that stereotypical merchandise and holidays, all of that. But I do wish you that, because I think it's still a beautiful celebration if we celebrate it not through that linear perspective of what's been shown to us from the society and beliefs, but from the core of what we think is love and how we can, spend it in a way that, again, feeds more of our soul. So anything that feeds the soul, that feeds our relationships through the soul, is good for us. So I do wish you having a beautiful Valentine's weekend, and further on, there's beautiful alignments all throughout this month, because we're here to be loved, to be love in human form, to show love, to receive love as well. It's both one. When you're androgynous, angelic self, you will know that giving and receiving are no longer separate. You are fully merged as that one. When you give, you also receive, and vice versa. So I wish you most beautiful time, my beloveds. I love you all so much, more than words can say. As always, with such love, wisdom, and power. Thank you for those of you who are sharing your feedback or donating. Deeply appreciated. Because as you know, there's a lot of time and effort and writings and ponderings that goes into sharing this wisdom with all of you, with all of us. So take care. I love you again from the bottom of my heart, and sending greetings from our sacred mountain space. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Welcome into